some of my friends in the Democratic establishment are not aware, or I think cannot comprehend what some of us have in mind in terms of what will happen after Biden is elected, hopefully after he's elected. And that is, we are not going back to business as usual. There's too much pain out there. There's too much inequality out there. There's too much injustice out there. And here is what I believe from the bottom of my heart. If the Democrats, with the Democratic president, Democratic House, and Democratic Senate, cannot begin to address the real crises facing this country, then the future of this nation will be very, very dismal indeed. The people are giving us an opportunity now, and if we blow it by not being bold and aggressive, the next Trump who comes along will be even worse than this one.
That was Bernie Sanders in an interview with Krystal Ball, sounding a dire warning to Joe Biden and the Democratic establishment. If you win this election and you blow the goodwill people gave you and you break your promises to working class and marginalized people, and you don't fight for them, and you just operate as milquetoast neoliberals, you will lose. The next Trump will come soon, and that Trump will be even worse than this one. And Bernie's 100%, as he often is, on point when he says it. This is part of a great interview. The link is in the description, but I wanted to focus on this particular part because I think it's something that we need to grapple with even before Election Day. Because yes, priority one is defeating Trump right here, right now. But the fight against Biden, frankly, has to start the second he becomes the victor. Not even the moment he becomes president. The moment he wins the election. He needs to be fought hard by progressives. Not because we're bitter, not because we want to see him fail. That's what you're going to hear a lot from neoliberals and corporate media. But because we worry about this backlash. Because we remember, a lot of us, who maybe aren't super young, remember 2008. We remember Barack Obama winning and people being really excited. And Obama running, at least on rhetoric, a very left-wing campaign to what Americans understood back then. The left is a lot stronger now than they were back in the 2000s. So Obama ran a fairly relatively left-wing campaign. But when he got to power, a lot of that was put aside. And you can blame Republicans or Joe Lieberman or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, Obama stacked his cabinet full of ghouls like Rahm Emanuel. He stacked his cabinet full of charter school supporters. He got his cabinet vetted by the big banks who he then bailed out. Like, Obama really didn't actually govern on behalf of the people that actually voted for him. And you didn't find those people in his cabinet. His cabinet did not include a majority of working class and people of color and young people. The people that need to be in cabinet to represent the Democratic base weren't there. It was a very traditional Democratic, Republican, bipartisan type cabinet, and it was awful. And he didn't get anything done, and the Republicans did not appreciate his bipartisan compromise that he and Joe Biden cooked up, and they still opposed him as if he was a far-left revolutionary. It didn't matter how much he tried to compromise, the Republicans didn't care. They took the compromise, but then never actually acknowledged it, and they just kept on getting their right-wing policies passed, the extension of the Bush tax cuts, etc. And so, obviously, people were disillusioned, and it's one of the reasons Obama lost a lot of seats in the midterm elections. And the Democrats throughout Obama's term at the state and local and national level were hemorrhaging, seats and in governors' mansions and things like that, because people were disillusioned with Barack Obama's failure to actually govern on behalf of the people that made him president. And Joe Biden was a part of that. And Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were a part of that. And now they have an opportunity to make some amends. They do. They can actually implement policies that people want. If Joe Biden actually implements his platform, like he actually implements banning right to work, public option, free education for most people making under a certain amount of money, low six figures. If he actually goes through and does it, It's not perfect. It's not what Americans deserve, but it's better than what they've had in a long time. And a lot of people will say, Joe did at least okay. I'm going to vote for him again and work for him again in 2022 in the midterms. If he doesn't, though, it's going to be a disaster. And again, what happened in 2010 is going to happen in 2022. And the Republicans are going to storm back and take the House and maybe the Senate back right away. And then Joe Biden's going to be a lame duck president like Obama was for a majority of his tenure, not controlling, at least one of the two houses. And I think that, progressives don't want that to happen because we know that with Republicans controlling one or both houses, a Democratic president is very, very much weakened and can't get much done. And so Bernie is 100% correct to say that the way you actually deliver to people that need help and the way you stay in power is by keeping your promises and fighting for the working class. And he's also right to note the concern about the next Trump, because let's be real. Donald Trump is still extremely popular in the Republican Party, and there might be a chance that him getting beaten badly by Joe Biden might give a quote-unquote moderate like Marco Rubio or somebody a chance to be his successor, but it could also be the case that the Republican Party's lesson is Trumpism works, Donald Trump doesn't work. Donald Trump is far too erratic. He's far too egotistic. He's far too unfiltered to actually sell Trumpism. But what about Tom Cotton? What about Ivanka Trump? People will laugh at that, but what about Ivanka Trump or Tom Cotton or any of these Republicans that largely support Trump, but do a much better job at articulating that very, very right-wing ideology? They will govern more effectively because they'll be just better at everything day to day. But they might still have the same ugly views about America internally and their role in the world. And that would be a dangerous combination. Trump but competent, right? And I don't want that to happen. Bernie doesn't want that to happen. I know most people voting for Joe Biden, whether they're centrists or leftists, they don't want that to happen. And so people need to get ready now. They need to ensure Biden keeps his promises, that he stays loyal to what he actually promised in this election. Because if he doesn't, people will get disillusioned. They won't come out to vote for corporate Democrats in the next midterms, and you're going to see President Cotton and Vice President Ivanka Trump in 2024, and nobody wants that.